This morning we're featuring, fresh from the showcase from SwissWatchExpo, two of the greatest watches that money could possibly buy. You'll see why coming up. You'll see why I'm saying these are two of the greatest watches money could buy. They are modern interpretations of vintage chronograph dress watches. The vintage ones that they're based on are really far too small for most modern wearers and extremely rare and extremely expensive. But these are modern interpretations of some vintage watches that just look great on the wrist. These are some of the best designed watches that have ever been produced anywhere. But from these two houses, from Patek Philippe and Vacheron Constantin in particular, these are absolutely deliciously gorgeous watches. So the two that we have here, this is the Patek Philippe 5170J, and this is the Vacheron Constantin 1955 Corne de Vache 5000H. Now that's a mouthful, but I'll tell you why it's important. This watch is a platinum case, and when you look at it, it does have a very vintage flair to it. The watch that it's based on, as you could tell from the name of the watch, came out in 1955, and there were only about 36 examples made. Now, they were made in rose gold, yellow gold, and platinum at the time. A couple of platinum versions sneaked out of the factory a few years later, but they're extraordinarily rare watches. Anything that they only made 36 of, mere mortals like you and I don't even have a chance of ever owning one. But they were also really small. They were maybe 33 or 34 millimeter. This is a much better interpretation for the modern times. It's 38.5 millimeter. It is in platinum. And the reason it's called Corne de Vache, what that translates to is horns of the cow. And so you're really going to grab the bull by the horns on this one. It really is the premier design element of the watch is what the lugs look like. And those 36 examples, if you Google them up and look for pictures of them, they're really aggressively over-polished, and so this shows you what the original design probably looked a lot more like. It is a platinum case. It's a beautiful beveled bezel right into the sapphire crystal, and the dial itself, it has the tachymeter scale around the edge. It's a chronograph that, just the look of it, a dress watch with this kind of chronograph, it sort of tones down the exclusively dressed look of the watch and makes it look a little bit more sporty. When you look at the buckle, it's got a matching platinum Maltese cross Vacheron buckle. Of course, the Maltese cross is also on the crown. And then it has the exhibition case back because we wouldn't want to miss the movement. The movement on this one is based on the famous Lemania 2310. Now, if you're not familiar with this movement, you should definitely Google it. It's probably the greatest chronograph movement that was ever made. It launched in the 1940s as a revolutionary movement. It's been used by really everybody out there. Patek Philippe, Breguet, Omega. You probably know it in the Omega world as the 321 that went to the moon. But this Lemania-based movement, they use the abache, that's the base, and then they decorate and make it their own. It's a column wheel chronograph with a lever clutch, and you can actually see that actuate. You can see it work through the exhibition caseback. And the movement on this one is just outstanding. You can see it's got the Maltese cross on the column wheel. It has the Cote de Genève on all the plates, but it's really, the plates are minimized so that you can see as much of the movement as possible. So this watch in particular, this has been referred to as probably the greatest currently produced, available modern Vacheron. And I really couldn't argue with that. I love the steel overseas, but if I had my choice of any Vacheron that they've ever made, this is it. So it's a phenomenal watch and definitely not one to be overlooked. Now on the Patek, you can see it does look very similar. They're definitely in the same theme and in the same sort of vein. The Patek Philippe is 18 karat yellow gold, so it is the 5170J. And this is a really interesting chronograph. It's also, just like the Vacheron, a manually wound column wheel lever clutch chronograph. But what it does, where the Vacheron has the tachymeter scale so that you can measure units per hour, whether those are miles or kilometers or widgets, whatever they are, This one is a doctor's chronograph. And so what you do with this one is you start the chronograph with your finger on the pulse, you count to 15 pulses and then stop the chronograph, and it tells you the heart rate per hour, per minute. And so if you were to, if it took 15 seconds, for example, to get 15 pulses, you see it says 60. That would be a heart rate of 60 beats per minute. So it's a really useful chronograph. Could be used by anyone who wants to check pulses, but certainly nurses and doctors would love it. But it does have the very similar exhibition case back, manually wound movement, the sort of downturned lugs that Patek Philippe is known for. Again, a very simple beveled bezel and their Calatrava cross on the crown. So really similar watches. The Vacheron that we have, this example has box and papers. It's a little more expensive than the Patek Philippe. It is a platinum case, but either one would be a fantastic investment and a great watch to wear. And I think really probably the highlight of anyone's watch collection.